Well, looks like it's time for another Scatterbrain Saturday video, and today I wanted to talk a bit about thumbnailing and keeping an open mind, especially when you are the one laying out or drawing a comic book page. Hi, my name is Jay Sheik. I'm a comic book artist and art professor, and I know there are a number of comic book artists out there, including heroes of mine like David Mazzucchelli and Chris Samnee, who kind of live and die by how well they can thumbnail a page before jumping into the final drawing. And for me, it's always been one of those facets of it that is either completely essential or not needed at all. And particularly when I'm working on somebody else's script, I tend to keep my thumbnails very loose, just to basic panel layouts without consideration to what is actually going to go into those panels. And this is where an open mind comes in, and I'll have an example to show you here. So why don't we just jump straight to my drawing board. Before we get to my drawing board, let's take a look at some examples of form. These are David Mazzucchelli's thumbnails or roughs for his work on Batman Year One with writer Frank Miller. And if you're familiar with the finished comic, you can see that these really are the finished blueprint for how those pages appear in final publication. In similar fashion, artist Chris Samnee takes a similar track where his rough pencils form the basis for drawings he will later conclude in ink. I've mentioned Samnee before, particularly in reference to one of his pencil drawings I inked for a Time-Lapse Tuesday video some weeks back, and since Samnee inks his own work, his pencils have a shorthand to them that is custom tailored to his own techniques and time frame for completion of the work. As for myself, as you can see, I'm like a student scribbling in the margins of a textbook. When I receive a script from a writer, I load it immediately into Notability, where I can mark it up to my heart's content, and where I will also make these very marginal thumbnail drawings to help me get a sense of the whole page in terms of panel layout. Since I work a lot from reference, this lets me keep a more open mind to composition as I'm making the page, rather than replanning every square inch ahead of time, like this panel here from The Last Superhero, where it occurred to me that putting a reflection of the main superhero character over this group of protesters waving signs on his behalf would be an interesting way of aligning him with their argument in a visual way, and showing the duality of a superpowered person and their mild-mannered alter ego. I just like to leave room to change my mind when these ideas happen. But that is essentially the point. I think thumbnails are great for pre-visualizing a page, but I feel like they can also keep you kind of locked into a certain kind of thinking, and there are ideas that may strike you once you actually get into the wilds on this page as you're drawing it, and keeping an open mind and an open eye to be able to see these things as they occur will result in better, more dynamic, better visual storytelling in those pages. Anyway, that's what I got for you today. Thank you for stopping by.